What's up, everybody? This is Surge, Fiction, Pop, a Doc, and I'm back. This is day 6 of this 45-day live challenge. And it's not getting any easier, guys. Like, I still find some trouble with this. But like, once I get into it, it's cool. It's just like, it's always that beginning part that's kind of hard. You're like waiting for it. And I'm like, all right, I'm about to hit this live button and go live. And, you get the jitters out and I'm over here like Anchorman, ow now brown cow and Rapunzel went to the render for, so yeah, I'm just trying to, to make this thing work and just see how, what happens with it. But yeah, so I'm hoping today's is going to be fairly quick, right? Because it's Mother's Day weekend, and my mama wants to do some stuff, and yeah, so I'm trying to make it quick. I can't guarantee it's going to be quick, but I'm going to give it the old college try. Okay, so today I really wanted to talk about imposter syndrome. Okay, and how we all go through imposter syndrome, and that can also covers like social anxiety, right? So what is imposter syndrome? So imposter syndrome is the internal experience of believing that you are not competent as others perceive you to be. So pretty much that people think more of you and that you're really smart or that you have more to offer than you believe in yourself. Right? So you feel like a fraud. You feel like a phony. Like you didn't belong there, like an outsider. Like, I mean, we've all gone through that. Even me, just doing this, that's how I feel. These are the certain things that I'm going through. We all go through them, especially, as dancers. Like I'm out there and I'm starting all these things, and I feel like I'm improving and feeling really confident in the way I'm moving, and then all of a sudden, like, I see somebody else and I'm like, bro, I suck. And it's funny because like that's it, I can be on a high horse, and then like 2 hours later I'm like, damn, I'm terrible. And that's just how it is sometimes, but you can't let those feelings kind of be the things that hold you down. And so what are some characteristics of like imposter syndrome? Well, self-doubt, number one. Okay, attributing your success to an outside source. So pretty much saying that like, oh, I'm only successful because like y'all did good, I didn't do anything. So like, yeah, think about like when you do like a group work in school, right? And then do you feel like the only reason you got an A was because the people who you so happen to be working with at that moment? Like, you don't want to credit anything to yourself. Give any credit to yourself. See what else? What's next? Fear that you won't live up to the hype. Having those expectations. People thinking, saying that you're way up here. Like, man, you're gonna be a savage. You're gonna be this, and man, you're gonna be killing it. You're gonna be like murdering people on the dance floor, and sometimes that scares you. And you're like, man, I can't do it. I've had that happen before. I had those expectations on me before. They're tough. It's a tough thing to do. That's a tough way of living. If somebody has these expectations, you're like, man, I can't meet that. But if you don't say nothing, I mean, how are you supposed to know, right? Being an overachiever. An overachiever is one of the characteristics of imposter syndrome. Why? Because you feel like you have to do more. Like you have to go beyond that. I mean, they do say like, in order for you to get better, you need to put in the amount of practice, but at the same amount of practice, you got to add more time to that. So like if you're taking a course or you got an instructor or a sensei or a coach or a mentor of some sort, and they're teaching you some stuff, and then you're like, that's it. You just practice, you recite, or you do what it is that you're doing only when you're with that mentor, but you don't put in the extra effort. That's not what they're talking about. It's that you keep doing way more than you should. You don't listen to your body because of the fear that I'm not good enough. Even though you are good enough, but you overachieve. Okay? Self-sabotage. Big, right? We all go through self-sabotage. Sometimes our thoughts get the best of us. And this is a big one right here. Setting unrealistic goals and being extremely harsh on yourself when you don't achieve them. That's the number one thing. I think people do that a lot, especially when they're they're dieting, or they want to, in our terms here, like when we're dancing, like we want to learn everything. We try to do all the wow factor moves. We try to do the big stuff first, and we don't like get down to the basics, man. You got to get down to the basics, basically. That's what it is. For real, you really do. You gotta. I keep saying this quote because it makes so much sense, right? Kobe Bryant, he says, in the profession, when I played pro basketball, everybody was good at doing the difficult stuff, but the easy stuff, everybody had trouble with. And that's exactly what happens here in this dance world too. We all want to do the wow factors. We all want to do the big moves, the showstoppers, But what really matters in the best thing is those easy movements, the basics, the mechanics. See, the problem with the imposter syndrome is that the experience of like doing well, when you do well at something, it doesn't change your beliefs. You keep having these same beliefs, so it does nothing for you. Even though you're trying so hard to be really good at this thing, like you're still gonna think the same. It's not gonna change. And that's the struggle with this, because we're always trying to, reach some like higher level, and we're never happy where we're at. Right? Can you guys identify with that? You guys feel that? I'm gonna drink water real quick. Vodka. So how do you identify imposter syndrome? Well, first of all, you gotta ask yourself some questions, right? Or I'm gonna ask these questions, and if you say yes, then I'm not saying that you do, but like, it could be, maybe, right? So do you agonize over the smallest, or let me read that one more time. Sorry. Do you agonize over the smallest mistakes or flaws in your work? I used to. Every time I would make a little mistake, I'd be like, man, and I would murder myself for it, because I'm like, I'm better than that. I'm better than that. I should know better. I should know better. I pride myself on being the best. Yeah, but then I would kill myself when I made a mistake. Mistakes happen. But I know I had that, right? He goes, do you credit your success to luck or outside factors? I did sometimes. Maybe y'all did too. Let me know. All right, let me know downstairs. What I mean downstairs is right here. Yeah, down there. Okay. Let's see. Do you downplay your expertise, even in areas where you genuinely are more skilled than others. That means like you know more than these people. Like this is your shit. And then you got some Joe nobody who's across the way on his laptop wearing an Echo United gray shirt, smiling at me, looking in my direction, and he's trying to tell me how to do my physical therapy stuff. And, he's never done it himself. He goes, but then he's making me feel like, oh, well, they know more than me. Man, I know he doesn't know more than me. But I shouldn't feel just because he sounds confident in it that he knows more than me. And see, those are the type of things that we have to fix. And by the way, my cousin's right over there. So, and his name is Joe. Okay. Yeah, you suck. We about to do some work after this. That's why I'm trying to make it quick. And so let's see, man. Oh, I got somebody who's on. Let's see. Streamer, sup? I know more than you. I'm not sure who that is, but okay. Another thing is the negative thinking. Okay. You got the self-doubt, self-sabotage, all this can impact different parts of your life. They all can, and imposter syndrome is kind of like associated with social anxiety. Social anxiety is like a disorder that people may feel like they don't belong in social gatherings or performance situations. For instance, like when you're battling or you're dancing or, you feel like, oh man, like I'm not worthy enough to be here. I'm not worthy. Like I don't belong here, or I don't want to be in this place. Like it's tough. It can scare you. Speak the truth. I am attempting to speak the truth. Oh man, I wish I knew who was talking to me. I have an idea, but it all feels good. Thank you for listening. So let me go back. Social anxiety. So social anxiety can actually fuel imposter syndrome. Like they can really, really fuel that. All right. People, it is they work hand in hand. Like you don't have to have social anxiety and you're going to like automatically have imposter syndrome. You can have both of them at the same time. You can have one or the other. So, they are linked, but just because you have one doesn't necessarily mean you have the other one. Okay. But they're very close related. So social anxiety is like the little brother, I guess you can say, the little brother of imposter syndrome. Okay. And so what can you do to overcome like imposter syndrome? Realistically, you can just ask yourself a few questions like, what are your core beliefs? What are your core beliefs? And do you hold yourself up to them? Are your core beliefs like, does imposter syndrome like fuck with your core beliefs? Like if they shouldn't be, like I look at myself and when I ask myself, like, what are my core beliefs? What are this, bam, I value loyalty. I value friendship. I value, whatever it is. And if I feel like imposter syndrome is like, well, does imposter syndrome affect my loyalty? Well, no, it doesn't. So, boom. Then I'm like, oh, let me get that out of the way then. Like that doesn't jam with what I'm trying to do. Right. The other one is, man, motherfucker, I am lost as fuck right now. Like I am not lying to you guys. Like I just like, Had a brain fart. Have you guys ever had a brain fart before? Man, it sucks, yo. I'm trying to, let me see if I can find. Okay, here it is. So another question you got to ask is, do I believe I'm worthy of love as I am? Like, you got to ask yourself that question. Do you believe they're worthy of love? Like, you should. Everybody is. Just because like these thoughts that you have aren't your reality. So don't let that overtake what you are. Okay. Another one is, must I be perfect for others to approve of me? Hell nah. You ain't got to be perfect. Like, for real, like, there's no such thing as perfection. Even if you have what you call a 10 to somebody else, that's a 5. And if you think you have a 5 to somebody else, that's a 10. If you think you're a 1, you might be a 6 to somebody else. Like, you never know. And so everybody's worthy of love. Everybody is beautiful inside. So you just got to see yourself that way. And so how do you overcome like imposter syndrome? First of all, you got to share your feelings. Share what you're feeling. Tell your friends. Be like, hey, you know what? I'm going through these things. I'm not feeling right. I'm feeling kind of like I'm feeling fucked up right now. And a lot of times your friends can help you out. Sometimes it's just better than instead of focusing on yourself, focus on others. Give yourself a break. Yeah, man, you've been judging yourself so long. Hey, just watch other people now. Just watch Joe. Instead of focusing on yourself, just look at him and be like, hey, you're doing an amazing job. Yeah, thumbs up. Oh man, assess your abilities. Like really look into yourself. Like grab a book and start writing down, like accomplishments that you have. What you're good at. Compare it with your self-assessment. So write down what you feel on one side, what you feel, everything that's positive and negative, and then write down everything that you have accomplished in your life. All the good stuff. In another book, what is it? It's by Dave Goggins. You Can't Hurt Me. He talks about going into your past experiences and using that experience to overcome. Okay. Using those experiences to say like, hey man, I went through some hard shit. Like I can get over anything because I went over this. So for instance, for me, when I go through like really hard times and I'm like, dude, like I'm struggling right now. Like I want to give up. What I do is I look back at my military experience and be like, man, you know what? I went to Iraq and I went through some shit over there, and like I made it out of that. So I can make it out of anything. And I really don't think like that, like going to Iraq was the hardest thing for me either. I think honestly, the biggest challenge I had was getting a bachelor's degree. I never thought I was gonna finish school. And so that's my biggest accomplishment. But that's not the biggest battle that I'm going to have. That's coming in a few months. Doctor of Physical Therapy School at USC. Take baby steps. Okay. So instead of like trying to make these big wins, get small wins. Instead of setting unrealistic goals, make small, realistic goals. Big, unrealistic goals. I think I said realistic. Did I? Yeah, I don't remember. But instead of like big, unattainable, unachievable goals, make them small and realistic. And though once you start attaining those things, like they give you a boost of confidence. You're like, man, I can do this. I can do this. Write the list down. If one of those things is like, hey, I wiped my ass this morning, boom, you fucking won, dude. Just because of that, because you wiped your ass. Like, check that motherfucker off. If it's like brushing your teeth, hey, I did that. What a win. Let's do it. Right? Yeah. So you got to make it small. You got to make realistic goals and make sure they're attainable. That's like the best advice that, I can give. So question your thoughts. Just look at yourself and be like, why am I thinking like this? The minute those thoughts start coming by, stop them right there. Just be like, nah, these thoughts aren't good for me. I'm gonna let them go. It helps. It takes practice, but it helps when you start doing that. Okay. Stop comparing yourself to others. I think that's one of the biggest things, is that we compare ourselves to other people. And especially like if you're from like my family, you're raised being compared to everybody else. The people are like, oh, your primo, he knows how to take out the trash can. I'm like, fuck him. Nah, but for real, like, like it's don't compare yourself to anybody else. That was a big thing for me. Like I would always compare myself to people. Be like, oh, this person, well, that person, well, they're married and I'm not, and I'm this and I'm that. And I think that's the problem, is that sometimes familial values tell us where we're supposed to be at. And so what we're raised as, seeing like, oh, you're supposed to be married by this time, you're supposed to have kids, or, you have like brothers and sisters that are younger than you, or cousins that are younger than you, that are like engaged and getting married, and and you're still like, fuck, dude, I'm still trying to figure out my shit. Like, man, stop comparing yourself to other people. Why? Because their journey is different than yours. Like, what you're doing is not what they're doing. Just because you value this higher than what you're doing, like, it could be reversed for the other person. They probably like, man, I wish I've like gone to school, and they see you in a higher standing. So like, don't compare yourself to anybody. You're all here. Boom. You're all there. Okay. Take a break from social media. That's hard, especially like for me, kind of doing this, because once I see like, oh, who commented on my stuff, but man, sometimes we got to take a break. We got to stay away from that stuff. Like, turn off the IG, the Facebook. Practice the Sabbath or something like that. If you don't know what Sabbath is, that means like, I think the Jewish take like a full Saturday or a full weekend to like turn off all like media, electronics, TV, and all that, and they just stay in the quiet and work on themselves. Like, they don't worry about technology, and I think that's pretty dope. I started practicing that, and I did notice a big difference. My doggy, one of my dogs, is walking around. She wants to go outside. I got my assistant Joe to get it. All right. Another thing is stop fighting your feelings. Like, stop saying, or stop trying to say like, oh, I'm not feeling this, or I'm not feeling that. Like, I don't like, trying to suppress your feelings down. Like, embrace them, acknowledge them, because that's the only way you're going to get over this thing. Just really look at yourself, see what's going on, and just embrace your feelings. Refuse to let like imposter syndrome hold you back. Like, you can't let it hold you back. Leave it in the back. It's one of those things. I know it's harder, it's easier said than done, but like, you have to kind of practice this. You have to be persistent with it. Sometimes you're going to relapse, but you keep going. You're like, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this. I'm going to go back. But just keep working at it. You have to keep working at it. It just doesn't happen overnight, Even when you feel like, oh man, I don't feel like doing this, or I feel like I feel like a fake, so I'm not going to do it. Well, yeah, you're going to continue being a fake if you don't keep doing it. That's straight up. Be persistent. Just do it. Don't do it because you're trying to impress people, but do it because it's going to be good for you. Like, that's a small win. If you posting yourself like dancing on IG like more than once a week or something like that, like, and you want to do it because you want to expose yourself, like, that's a win. Don't worry about what people say. You're doing that for you. Like me doing this right here. Like that, this isn't easy. This is tough. You know, you freeze sometimes, you forget what you're going to say. You know, your dog's walking past and they distract you, you know, like all that shit happens. It just is what it is, you know, but you just keep pushing through. Like, I'm not just going to be like, oh, fuck, that's it. It's over. I'm going to turn it off and forget about this because this is terrible. Like, no, you just keep doing what you're doing. Just push through it. Like, whatever. I sometimes think it's funny because you hear me talking and you hear the pause in the background, you know, like, hey, that's what live streams are about. I don't even care if people are on. This is really for me because I don't want none of this stuff to hold me back. You get what I'm saying? Like, so refuse to let imposter syndrome hold you back. So if you feel like an imposter, it's because you have some degree of success in your life. It's crazy, huh? Like, if you feel like an imposter, it's because you have some degree of success in your life. That means you're doing something good. It's kind of like, you know, when they say like, oh, I got a lot of haters. But having a lot of haters is a good thing because you must be doing something right. And you know what? But that's realistic. That's what it is. If you feel like an imposter, it's because you have some degree of success in your life. Boom. Okay. So flip the script on that imposter syndrome. Flip the script. Don't let it overtake you. You flip that script and use that as a source of motivation. Once again, if you feel like an imposter, it's because you have some degree of success in your life. Let that resonate. It's a big, powerful words right there. I'm just going to stay quiet for a little bit. Let you guys resonate with that. If you feel like an imposter, it's because you have some degree of success in your life. Like, I can't say it enough because I want to drop the mic, but I don't want to break it. I don't make money like that. But it's powerful. Hey, come on, Joe. Yeah. You hear that, right? Like, Joe now doesn't feel like an imposter anymore because I said that. Boom. And those aren't my words, but they're very powerful. Okay. And in the end, like, if you've done all of these things and still continue to feel like you fall back into this cycle, man, realistically, seek some professional help. You know, maybe there's something more there. You know, they can help you with whatever they can. Trust me, I know. I go to mental health. You know, I got my psychologist. I got my psychiatrist. I have my group therapy. I know it's not easy to admit that you have a problem, but at the same time, not admitting the problem doesn't fix the problem. So go seek help if you really need it. Don't be embarrassed. It's a lot easier now. So don't limit yourself. Okay? Don't allow your ego to get in the way of overcoming these problems. Okay? So before I go, I do want to say this was fun. It's always kind of interesting. You know, you try to make things go right, and then of course something always happens, or you hear something, or you freeze up, you lose your spot. It is just kind of like, what am I going to do to recover? whatever, dude. It is what it is. That's why I like this raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. Oh, baby, I like it raw. So I'm actually going to start reading the book. Okay. I haven't started it yet, but like, it's crazy how like, I think this is going to fall together. So this book is by Daniel Goleman, and it's called Emotional Intelligence. Boom. Okay. There it is. So I'm going to start reading this. I got this book at Barnes and Noble. No, I lied. I got it on Amazon. And yeah, Emotional Intelligence, Why It Can Matter More Than IQ. The groundbreaking book that redefines what it means to be smart. So I'm going to read this book and see what happens. And I might quote the book a few times, like in the next few days or tomorrow or whatever. But, you know, we just do what we got to do. And I'm just going to leave y'all there. You know, keep dancing and stay fresh and just do the damn thing, guys. Peace, love. I'm here for you guys. I love you guys. I'm bouncing.